Good afternoon, everybody. It seems to be working. Good. I will talk today about our Advion range, our Advion gels. Okay, perfect. We have two different formulations in the market, one against ants called Advion ant gel and the other against cockroaches, but it's also against silverfishes. They are basically, well, true gels in the typical 30-gram cartridges, provided in a blister pack with 4 cartridges and some tips and a plunger. And the difference between both is, of course, the formulation. First of all, they have different concentration of the active ingredient, indoxacarb. The ants have only 0.05% indoxacarb. The cockroaches and silverfishes have 0.6%. And of course, the formulation as such is different content of sugar and proteins in these, just to serve the needs of our targets, the ants and the cockroaches and silverfishes. The active ingredient, indoxacarb, is as such not toxic to insects. It has to be bioactivated by the insects. Bioactivating means, it's a nice name for actually meaning digestion. So the first product of the digestion is the activated bio-indoxacarb, and only this can bind to the target structure, the sodium channel. Both have an excellent secondary kill profile. They don't normally kill immediately, but they kill after a while, and they kill also other members of the colony or the nest. I come to that later. It's a very important feature. Both gels have a very favorable profile, environmental profile. They don't have any warning symbol. They don't have an R phrase. So it's really easy to use and convenient to use. These gels can be applied not only on horizontal surfaces or on edges, as most of the cartridges or most of the gels you can buy in the market, but also on vertical surfaces, on very smooth surfaces, and even from the underside of a table. It doesn't drop, it doesn't rinse, it really stays where you apply it. I show you later a very nice video which we produced to really prove this feature. And also on very porous surfaces, it can be very easily applied. It sticks on that surface, waits until the insect comes, eats, and then kills. So the chemistry of for both gels is the same, logical. It's indoxacarb. It is this is the structure. Indoxacarb belongs to the oxadiazine class. There's no other insecticide of that class in the market, in the PPM market. That means, of course, no cross-resistance to any other molecule. It's not like pyrethroids or organophosphates where you have dozens or thousands of formulations where cross-resistance could occur. In our case, it's only indoxacarb. It's a non-repellent formulation, or both are non-repellent, so the insects can eat it. They are not repelled, they like it. They don't feel what will happen with them. As I mentioned, it's the only active ingredient of that class. There's no other active ingredient, even not related, which has a similar mode of action. So you can really say it's a novel, a new, or no, it's not really new, it's more than 10 years in the market, but at least it's a unique mode of action. The bioactivation I mentioned already, and then it blocks the sodium channel of the nerves of the insect, which in the end leads to paralysis and then dead. Here's very roughly shown how it works. So the insects eat the bait. The enzymes in the gut of the insects and in the fat bodies of the insects digest the molecule, and then it cuts a little piece here, and only then it's activated. Only then it can bind to the sodium channel. Only then it can kill. And that, of course, takes time, which in our case has a big advantage. We don't want to kill ants and cockroaches immediately. They should have the chance to go back to the nest, in the case of ants, to feed the nest members, the larvae, the queen, and then make, by secondary kill, by horizontal transfer and then secondary kill, control the nest. I come to that later. The toxicity of these products is very favorable. It's here the tox profile, the LD50, the lethal dose 50, means the amount you need to kill 50% of the rats in these tests. It's a standard test for the industry, you know that. And you see here the numbers, larger than 5,000 milligram per kilogram rat means you cannot kill 50% of the rats in these tests. Actually, larger than means probably you need, I don't know, 5 times more, 10 times more, we don't know. You need a lot, much more to kill 50% of the rats. So it's really favorable profile, tox profile. There's no eye irritation, no dermal irritation, no skin sensitization. It's really, of course, you should wear gloves when you apply it, but apart from that, you can be quite sure that it doesn't harm neither you nor your customers. And now let's start with the ant gel. I told you already, horizontal transfer is key to control ants, because if you kill just the worker who feeds on the gel, there's no use. We had that a bit earlier with the pharaoh ants. If you just spray and kill the workers, the colony just moves away. The queen and the larvae and the nymphs all survive. With this horizontal transfer, it is able to bring the gel or the active ingredient from one single worker to the nest, where it shares actively the gel or the bait with its nest members, with the queen, with the larvae. And by doing it, if it's enough shared, it will result in secondary kill. So in the end, it will result in total control of the nest. This is called trophallaxis. You see a very nice picture, how two ants share food. It's also a social sharing. It's a means of communication also for them. It's not only that they feed, they interact by this by this behavior. And again, I have to emphasize the slow kill, which sometimes disappoints your customer. I don't see dead bodies. No, you have to explain them. This slow kill enables this gel to kill in the end, to control the whole colony. Otherwise, again, if the ant workers would have been dead already on the way from the bait to the nest, the queen would survive, the larvae would survive. So, how to apply? If you target ants, you should look where the ants are. It doesn't make sense to apply it somewhere here in this room. You should look where the entrails are, bring it close to the entrails. Only if at least one ant found the bait, and it's not attracted by 10 meters, the ant. They have more or less, they look for food. And if one ant found it and likes the bait, and surely our bait is, they like very much our bait. I show you nice pictures, videos later. Then it will eat it. It will will go back to the nest, will make some pheromones, will trace pheromones to mark the way to the bait. More ants will come, more workers will feed on that. By this, the signal to the bait is strengthened, is growing, and more ants are coming to this bait station or to this bait spot and eat from that in the end to bring the gel into the colony. And sometimes it happens more than one. It happens some critical insects, some critical ant species don't like to feed, for example, on a day. I had that more than once. Or just one or two little ants started to feed, nothing. Don't be disappointed. On the next day, most likely, the spot is gone. They feed also overnight. They have a 24/7 day or 24/7 week. They don't need to rest. And here I would like to stop the music. Thank you.
Not the...
It's too loud. No?
Okay.
Wait, it is there.
Sorry. You will have it with sound.
So, zero.
Zero.
Thank you. Okay. And here you can see, I told you that our gel is applied on vertical surfaces, sticking to the surface. It doesn't run. Here you see two competitor baits. I don't want to mention the product name, but you see the active ingredients. They are quite common. You may know what it is. Let's start again. So you really see how we applied it. 5 spots, here 5 spots, here 5 spots. It's on a cardboard. I did it on a cardboard. You see the other two really don't stick on the wall. Surely these two gels work when they are applied on a horizontal surface, but on vertical surfaces, and ants work also on horizontal surfaces and vertical surfaces, and even on the ceilings. You cannot apply these two gels. Only our gel sticks where it should be. It's applied. Here you see a video where we now in reality applied it against black ants. And there are two interesting things. Firstly, I want to show you how attractive it is. And secondly, I want to show you that it sometimes depends when you apply it. So here we applied in the shade. It's in Greece, so quite hot. Within minutes, within seconds, the black ants started to feed on the bait. So that's how you expect, that's how it should be. Then the colleague applied it here also on the top, in the sun. No ant does feed on it. They don't like to feed in the bright sun. I had that so often, especially with black ants, Lasus niger. But overnight, this spot is gone. So again, don't be disappointed if you don't see ants at the very moment when you apply it. It may be eaten up later. Here you see another trial. This late afternoon, so the ants feed on it. And secondly, black ants, Lasus niger. And secondly, note, this is probably also for you nice to know. This cartridge was opened 1 year before. And then, of course, with a plug, and we closed it. But 1 year after opening, still within the shelf life, you see how attractive it is. And now we come to an ant species which a colleague of you here in Norway did share with me. Carpenter ants, within minutes, they were grouping around the gel. I know carpenter ants is a big thing here, and I heard from more than one colleague of you that this product works very nicely. So, and now I showed you only the attractivity. Now I would like to show you some efficacy data. Here are lab data against 4 different species: the black ant, the brown ant, the neglected ant, and the pavement ant, Tatamorium cespitum. Basically 5 trays, very artificial, it's in the lab. Tray 1 to tray 5, here you see the days, day 0 to day 4. And what you see is here the mortality, of course, on the day of application, 0 mortality. I told you it takes a while before it works. But here the bioactivation started, and you see already on day 1, after 24 hours, 50% and more mortality. And all 4 species could be controlled, fully controlled, within 3 to 4 days, 100% mortality in all 5 trays of each trial. So you really see, not only they like our product, but they get killed. Here is a field trial, again, 5 colonies. Bit different setup, of course. In the colony, you cannot count or hardly count the number of ants which are in this colony, but you can count the number of ants which walk along a trail. So what we did normally, as we do in these cases, is define I don't know, half a meter distance or 20 centimeters between 2 stones, for example, and count the numbers of ants per minute. And you see here, on 5 days, we found, well, here at that colony, the green colony, about 5 ants per minute. The light blue colony was 15 ants per minute, so more active anyway, but quite stable. You have, until the day of application, you have a quite good activity in these 5 colonies. Then we applied, according to the label, Adrian Angel. Day 0, nothing happens. Day 1, nothing happens, but after 48 hours, the numbers go down. The numbers of active ants. Of course, we couldn't count the dead bodies. And on day 4, this colony, we have tons of these data. This colony and others are completely controlled. If you control, for example, a Lasus niger colony, generally you can say a small spot of probably 10 centimeter is enough to control a small colony. I did it more than once. Young colonies in early summer, just one spot, next day or 2 days later, no activity anymore. Of course, a bigger colony of, say, 10 square meter, which are treated according to the label. The label says 0.5 gram per square meter, should then be treated with 5 grams. And of course, 5 grams is a lot, but these 5 grams may be needed to kill a bigger colony. And if this bait is completely eaten up, but still you see activity, well, the point is there are simply too many heads to be fed. You have to reapply. It's not that the product doesn't work, it's simply you need more product. With this gel, we were able to control millions of Lasus neglectus in a huge super colony in Germany. But of course, we needed more than one cartridge, you can imagine. An outlook for that what comes hopefully next year. It's exactly the same gel, Advion and gel in a bait station. It will be called, it's called Outcast Angel. It's already in a few countries launched and will be launched here in Norway and the Nordic region hopefully next year. Again, the same formulation, but has the advantage that it is protected against the environment. No dust harms it, no rain, and it remains longer fresh. I worked with that and I found attractivity of this gel even after 5 to 6 weeks. Which, if you apply a normal gel, our gel or one of our competitors will never attract an ant for 5 weeks. Here in this protected environment, it remains active. And here you see a little video. This is most likely Lasus neglectus, but could be imaginatus. I got it from a PCO. This, what is here black, are ants. You see how attractive it is. And it's also very nice to show to your customer. Look here, you can show the customer, look how black your bait station is. You will see the impact sooner or later, but they eat it. And I think this is a good story also to sell. Good, let's now switch to the next product, the Advion cockroach gel. It's excellent for control cockroaches, but also for silverfish. A quick reminder, when we talk about cockroaches, we mainly talk about 3 species: the German cockroach, the Oriental cockroach, and then the American cockroach, in that order. More and more seem to be a problem, the brown banded cockroach, Supella longipalpa, but nothing compared to the other 3. But I hear more and more complaints about that. That the active ingredient kills, I think you believe me. So I will quickly start with the horizontal transfer, because that is key to kill not only the one cockroach which eats the bait, but the whole nest. Again, horizontal transfer means one animal feeds on the bait, brings it to the nest in this case, it's not a colony, and there it is transferred to the others. However, cockroaches don't do trophallaxis, not like the ants. They don't have a social interaction, this kind of social interaction. Furthermore, gravid females don't eat much and don't forage, hardly forage. Also, the young nymphs don't forage much. So how you can control this part of the colony, which is surely more than 30, 40, 50%, depending on the colony. And here comes the solution. The horizontal transfer and then the secondary kill, the resulting secondary kill, works by coprophagy, which means that the nest members eat the feces of the foraging, mainly males. Ematophagy, that means they feed on the regurgitates and secretions, and last but not least, they feed on the dead bodies of their nest members. And they are dead because they have eaten our gel. And their body is full of active ingredient. And when the nest members eat that, the gravid females and the young nymphs, they get killed as well. And that they do it, I would like to show you here. So this is in our lab in Switzerland, in Stein. A cockroach killed by Advion. And you see the young nymphs of this German cockroach. They feed on it and they will die. How to apply? Basically the same way as the ant shell, either with a plunger or with an application gun. Each pack of 4 cartridges is supplied with 4 tips and a plunger. It fits to all kind of application guns. Again, 0.5 gram per square meter is the application rate. We recommend to apply smaller spots of about 50 milligram, bigger spots of about 250 milligram, or even the lines about 5 centimeter long. This is about 350 milligrams. And again, it sticks on every kind of surface. You see it here, it's a vertical, very smooth surface, glazed tile, it sticks. And I made some experiments. After 1 year, it's still there if you let it. You have to scrape it down. So if you apply it for whatever reasons and forget, it will work even after 1 year when the cockroach then eventually may visit this place. And it works. We have some data that it works perfectly after several months. It's hard as a stone, but the cockroaches like it. And they eat it and then they die. Here I show you the application in reality. It is in a private kitchen. I don't know, tell you where it is. Here's the nymph of a German cockroach. And here you see these spots. This is feces, cockroach feces. I've never seen so many cockroaches in a kitchen. And what you see here, we apply a little spots of max 5 millimeters. And you've seen the little antenna. The cockroaches were waiting to come to feed on the bait. And that was during the day, not at night. Okay, let's talk about the palatability of the cockroach gel. We have countless of studies, you can find them even in YouTube, that our gel is in a face-to-face comparison with all baits we tested as yet, more palatable than every cockroach bait you've seen, you've used as yet. The other baits may work or do work surely as well, especially the big ones. But in a face-to-face comparison, and here we tested a product with 1% chlorphenidine. You see here, 6 cockroaches eat on our bait, 2 are here. Often you have it, if you're in a face-to-face comparison, that there's no cockroach at the competitor bait and they're all on our bait. Again, Google Advion gel, YouTube, you'll find videos, especially from Brazil. It's really impressive. It's highly palatable. And of course, that it works, I showed you. And here I show you, as I mentioned, when it is old and dry, it still works. It is here a trial we did, the consumption of fresh gel versus the consumption of 3-month-old spot. This gel gets dry within 2 or 3 days. Then it's hard as a stone. I heard from PCOs, well, when it's hard, it's not palatable anymore. No, it is palatable. They really like it. They eat less, of course. You can eat more of a fresh bread than of a hard bread. But they do it. And the mortality is exactly the same. No difference. Again, when you apply it, you can really say fire and forget. It will work. You don't have to think about the activity anymore. These data is, again, to emphasize, 3-month data. But I did some trials where the product was more than 1 year old. Still palatable, still effective. It's a quite a good formulation. So, here's something else. Here it's in the field. The other data were lab data. So we applied it here in 3 apartments. And you see it 3 different sites. You see there are 3 bars. So the sites had different sizes. Therefore, of course, we had different amounts. I told you 0.5 gram per square meter. we did apply it according to the label exactly. As in the yellow or orange apartment were much more cockroaches before we started the trial, we had to reapply several times, actually 4 times here at site 2. The blue side we had to reapply after 4 weeks. The gray apartment, site 3, 50 square meter, we had to apply only once. And here you see the control. So after 6 weeks, we had in all cases already nearly 100% control, 90, 95 plus X percent. And if we would have run the trial for 12 weeks, 100% control, I bet. Here's the same approach now in bait stations. Sometimes you need or you want to apply it in bait station because of kids, because of pets, because of your customers. Cockroaches like this is a typical conventional bait station. You can buy it at the normal distributors, which are here also. Well, basically it's the same result, the same message. So we applied according to the site, sometimes more, sometimes less, because the apartments were bigger or smaller. Here in the blue side, site 4, we had to apply twice. The orange side, we had also to apply twice. And again, after 6 weeks, nearly 100% control in these 3 apartments. So the take-home message for you is Advion cockroach gel works against cockroaches, full stop. And it's highly attractive. So now we talk about a new thing which I already introduced here 3 years ago at the Discover. We got the label extension to gray silverfish, a long-tailed silverfish, or paperfish, how it is called in some countries. Here's back then it was a big thing. Now it's probably less of important because you had it quite good under control here in Norway. But in the rest of Europe, the long-tailed silverfish is a growing thing. The PCOs really are eager to get our product registered and then to be used because it works so good. So here we have some trials, lab trials, against the 2 major species, the long-tailed silverfish, Coelonchia cordata, and the common silverfish. And here 5 trays, a little bit like the trials I showed you before. You see at the beginning very low toxicity, if at all, and after a few days, sometimes it takes 1 week, sometimes it takes 2 weeks, 100% control of all silverfish, all species we tested as yet. Long-tailed silverfish, common silverfish, and little trials with the ovenfish, 100% control. And here we did a comparison with the competitor bait who has also the silverfish on the label. Advion. In that trial, we had here more than 90% control, not 100% in this case. Here it took much longer. It's a field trial. But you see no, lab trial, sorry, choice test. And here you see that our probe is very good, and the competitor bait is not really that good. It was again 1% chlorothianidine, and here in that trial with about 30% control, which is not too much after 40 days. This curve here below is the untreated control, where you don't expect any or hardly any mortality. Okay, and that trial was done at the NIPH here in Oslo, by Anders Ark. And you can find that in the internet and some publications. Here, he tested if the gels have this horizontal transfer feature, which I talked a lot for ants and cockroaches. If they have it also here, the silverfish. And yes, they have. So he placed some killed silverfishes to living silverfish and counted in the end the mortality. And what you see here is the number of surviving individuals, and it goes down to, from 42 down to very few. These are the numbers for Advion cockroach. By the way, our Advion ant works also, has the same active ingredient, no wonder, but we don't have it on the label. The competitor product with 1% chlorothianidine didn't work at all. So we can say, take-home message for you is, Advion cockroach against silverfish has also secondary kill feature, which is important because the adults or the species, the individuals which found the product brings it back to their harborage, where they normally are not alone. You will never get in such a surrounding 100% when you don't treat everything. So from outside, from the other areas, untreated areas of the museum, the silverfish is still invaded, therefore it's more or less here flat. If we apply it in stations, in these bait stations, the black bait stations which I showed you for the cockroach treatment, it takes a bit longer, but basically it's the same efficacy. And here again we had tested also it's called reference, actually it's the competitor product which has it also on the label. It's not bad. It's also applied in bait station, but you see quite a big difference. Firstly, it's not really slower, but it's definitely not as efficacious as Advion. The oscillating green line is the untreated control. Of course, sometimes the population grows, sometimes it shrinks, but more or less it remains stable. So again, in the reality, in museums, in libraries, in apartments, it will be successful. On the internet page of the NIPH, you find a lot of studies where the colleagues did control populations in a lot of environments, libraries, apartments, houses. So to summarize, the key message for Advion cockroach, it's an extremely attractive formulation for both cockroaches and silverfishes. The active ingredient has to be bioactivated by the enzymes of the insects. It has a perfect secondary kill feature, and I didn't show you the slides because of time reasons. It has even a tertiary kill feature for the cockroaches at least. It's the only gel in the world where it is shown that it has a tertiary kill. That means the dead cockroach of the secondary kill brought into a new tray with fresh cockroach and they die again. So it has really a great domino effect. It's very long lasting. I told you my personal experience of several months, and I showed you data of 3 months. It kills after a month still. Completely, it controls really all cockroaches. And just perfect formulation for controlling the long-tailed silverfish and the common silverfish. Thank you very much.
I want to thank Kai for this presentation as well. Always a pleasure to having you with us, so thank you very much. And you get a copy of the most book. It's a Norwegian, but Google Translate will work, I think.
Okay, thank you.